Hi everyone, it's Shar and welcome back to my channel with something I haven't done in a very long time, which is a speed build. I was going to build in that lot, but I'm playing in the Isla Rue save file, and did you see how amazing that terrain art was with Bella Goth? I couldn't bring myself to bulldoze it, so we just moved somewhere else into Newcrest. So this is a build that I'm actually creating for one of my off-screen families. So I'm currently playing the Miss Lollipop Sims, her Legacy Stories challenge, which is really fun. And I'm on Generation 2. And Gen 2 is a gamer, an esports gamer, makes her entire career off of that. So this is the loft that I'm going to move her into. It's always interesting to talk about off-screen families because obviously when I talk about on-screen families, you all know roughly who I'm talking about. If you watch my Let's Plays, there's the option for you to know who I'm talking about at the very least by going back and watching those videos. But for this one, this is an off-screen family, so you have no idea who they are. But I was just inspired to create this kind of loft style because I don't play with platforms very often. I struggled with the sizing of the loft because even though it was a loft, I imagined it to be very big. Like there was originally supposed to be like a pantry, an ensuite bathroom, and just things of that nature. Thinking about it now, just rewatching the speed build, I probably could have popped a platform into that bathroom and then widened it out a bit and then built on top of the platform. So the loft bedroom did also have an ensuite, but what reason is there to have two bathrooms in a essentially studio apartment? So I didn't do that. But thinking about that now, I realize that I can't do it. Also, if my voice sounds odd, it's because I just woke up like an hour ago and I haven't spoken at all, so I'm very much still in like my sleepy phase. I'm also babysitting today, so I'm recording this or recording the voiceover rather, while the babies sleep. So hopefully they stay asleep for a little while longer, though it is getting pretty late in the morning. I really wanted to use some CC packs in this because I saw Deli's video with the recent CC pack. I was like, CC is so good. Like build CC is really, really good. Especially I like the Maxis Match aesthetic when it comes to build, which I know is odd because if you've seen my videos, you know I play alpha with my Sims, but I do like Maxis Match build stuff. But I just wanted to play with some CC in this. So like I mentioned, this is a loft for my gamer girl, and let me tell you a little bit about this family. I was playing with our Gen 1, and I'll leave the link to the Legacy Stories challenge below so you can see like all the rules and stories and stuff. But our Gen 1 was a runaway teen, and my Gen 1 ended up having quadruplets. I didn't even know I had that enabled with MC Command Center. And I was like, geez, no, why quadruplets? It was so hard, but I had fun because I never played with like families. I've never played with the quadruplet family, right? Like my Sims usually don't have multiples. If they do, it's twins. So quadruplets was definitely a challenge, and it was interesting playing from her perspective. But then she and her husband went and woohoo tried for baby without my permission because I also have that enabled with MC Command Center. It's an autonomous action that any sim can do. They can try for baby. I did that to help with story progression. Y'all, they woohoo and tried for baby when I wasn't paying attention, and then they had twins. And I was like, are you kidding me? Now they have 4 teenagers and 2 twin toddlers. And that makes me think, you know what? Our Gen 2 should probably run away because I am getting stressed out. I hate playing in 8 sim households. I find it so annoying and so stressful because all you're doing is essentially taking care of their needs. Like when the household is that big, there's very little room for storytelling. There's very little room for like creative fun play because it's all about taking care of the sim needs because there are so many. This loft, by the way, is partially chosen by my niece. My niece is 3 years old. I have 6 nieces, so this is one of the younger ones. She's 3 years old. And she was upset because her sister was bullying her. They were fighting over a chair. So I let her come sit in my lap and pick out some of the stuff. So she liked that bed. And then she liked the toddler dresser, which tells you the kids' room stuff is actually geared towards kids. But we compromised and she chose this one instead. So that's why we have a hot pink loft upstairs. And I wanted this loft to be very industrial kind of focused. But not all brick, right? I didn't want it to look like a reformed factory. That's not the right word, but you get what I mean. Refurbished, like a factory. I didn't want it to look like that. I want it to look partially like that, but still really like fun and interesting to play with. And at this point I realized, this box doesn't have a lot of windows. This isn't normally how I build. If you see my build before, you know that I build from the outside in. So I first build like the general aesthetic for the out of the building, and then I go inside and I decorate around that. And for this one, I just had an idea that it was a loft, so I knew what I wanted the inside to look like, which is why I started with a box. And I also want the tallest height, so we could have a super high platform. I, again, normally don't build on super tall heights for this, so it was interesting to play with. And it does mean that there are minimal windows, so to compromise, I did these smaller windows, which I think makes sense. You can often see that in lofts, right, where there are small windows across the top of the, I was gonna say roof, not the roof, the walls. Like getting to the ceiling is where the windows are at. And of course, my girl is a gamer, but she doesn't have room upstairs for a dresser, so I compromised and set that downstairs. I would put a bunch of really cool looking dressers. I think this is my Shuno sun dressers. So I use these beautiful little round ones in it just to add a little bit of aesthetic. And I wanted to add in colors to this because obviously it's very black and white and red, and I wanted to add a little bit of warmth into it. I get that with the platform trim, it had some of that warmth, but I just wanted to add a little bit more. And I really just play with the design style in this loft that I normally don't play with. This couch is super cool, by the way. I don't remember who it's from, but it's freaking awesome, and I absolutely loved it. And I really play with colors in a way that I normally don't play with. I play with items I really never touch at all, so it was just fun to build this. But it did end up taking me 2 hours because I was paying attention to so much detail, and I was thinking about, well, where does she live? This is her apartment. What kinds of things does she like? She really likes video games. Obviously she's a gamer, but she also really likes sports. She's pretty competitive, so I have a lot of, like, you'll see me put a lot of what's that pack called, Snowy Escape, kind of skiing stuff and skiing signs and a little decorative stuff here and there. I was upset that I couldn't put shelves or like the kitchen cabinets onto the platform trim. I've seen, I think, Evelyn do that before, where she was able to put the kitchen cabinets onto the platform. My game was not playing. Also, this brush and remote is just so cool. I don't know why we're so zoomed in here. I think it's because my niece is talking to me and I'm trying to listen to what she's telling me, but very detailed brush. This is signs I'm telling you about. So now that I've given you the whole overview of this loft, we'll come back to the finishing touches in a minute, and I'll interrupt myself if I have something to say. I can tell you a little bit more about me and my life. I'm finding it so hard to find time to sit down and edit. Like, I have so many ideas for my Sims. I play legacy style for a lot of the challenges on my channel. So, I play the Not So Berry challenge and I play the Whimsy Stories challenge. Both of those are legacies. And with Not So Berry, we're entering Gen 4. And with Whimsy Stories, we're entering Gen 2. And I want to play them so bad. And I've pre-recorded so many episodes, but the challenge is finding time and energy to edit. I 100% believe in transparency, so I will tell you what I am struggling with here. So I recently got promoted to an interim assistant director. I am helping my staff out while they hire someone for next year to take over the role. And that means that there is quite a lot on my plate because I'm essentially doing 2 roles at once. I'm currently still an advisor, and then I have my full caseload of students, and then I also look over every single student who comes into our program. So I find that challenging because it means that I spend the majority of my time in front of my computer screen, even more so than previous semesters. I do think in semesters because I work in higher ed. So because of that, I am on my computer from like 9 o'clock in the morning until 5:30 at night, pretty nonstop with the exception of like bathroom breaks, coffee breaks, or lunch breaks. So by the time that my workday ends, my eyes are exhausted. I've been staring at a screen all day, and the only thing I want to do is zone out and go like read a book or take a bath or do yoga, just anything that's going to help my eyes like with that strain. And I found it hard to get the energy to come back and edit videos when my mind is in that place. I'm like feeling very frazzled. I think I just need to give myself an adjustment period, which is to let you know a lot of my favorite series like Not So Berry and Whimsy Stories are pre-recorded. I even have, I think, the final couple of episodes of my Seducing the Reaper Let's Play ready to go. It just needs to be edited, as we were talking about. And then I also have my Cottage Living LP, like the final episodes kind of recorded and ready to be edited, but I just really have not gotten the energy to get to it, and I think I need to just give myself some grace. I will promise you that I will have these videos up as soon as I am able to have them up. Editing is just taking me a lot longer than usual. Like, if you've been on my channel a long time, you know that when I first started this, I could not record a video and not edit it to completion right away. Like, it gave me anxiety, the thought of starting to edit a video and then not finishing that edit of that video right when I started it. I've moved away from that mindset, thankfully, because generally there are times where I just cannot sit in front of the computer for 2 hours straight to edit a video, sometimes longer. If you don't like record videos, rule of thumb for me is that however long the video is, it will probably take twice as long to make the edits for that video. And I do very simple edits, and I would say probably not even very good edits. I just cut out a lot of like the boring stuff that goes on in the background, the loading screens, the things where I'm not really talking about anything, or all of my sim is doing is like walking around. I really try to focus on a story. Sorry, I realize you probably can hear rattling in the background. That's me playing with my new earrings, because I also fidget a lot. So anyway, catch up on real life. It is obviously December, although you don't know this. I could have pre-recorded, but it is in fact December 5th. So I am hopefully recording and uploading on the same day. And yesterday I went to go see the tree at the Rockefeller Center. I do live in New York City, and I don't tend to do like the tourist type of things. I don't know why. I tell people you don't tend to see your home city in the same way, right? Like, you don't go out to do the things that naturally attract people to the city. It's just for you, part of your everyday life. It's there. It's interesting. It's not something you would brave the crowds for. But I did go down to see the tree at Rockefeller Center, which I haven't done since I want to say like 6 years old. So it was really pretty. I just enjoyed seeing it. And then my mom and I just kind of walked around the city. I was looking for holiday cheer. Like, I wanted to get into the mood for holiday cheer, but I didn't. And I am like so torn about whether or not to tell this story, but I think I can tell it in a way where you obviously have no idea who this happened to. I don't even know who this happened to, but I was on the train. The train had just pulled up to the station, and I was getting on it to go to Rockefeller Center and see the Christmas tree. And I hear like these shouts for help, but I can't see anything. So obviously everyone kind of pauses and peeks their heads out the door and say like, who needs help? What's going on? And we see this man drag a girl across the train platform. It looked like trying to kidnap her, and it was just really scary to see. I mean, obviously people helped and interrupted, and there was an undercover police officer, so the girl was able to get away. But just like I can't describe to you the feeling you get when you watch something like that in person. Obviously, I am not the victim in this circumstance whatsoever. It affects me in no way near the way it affects the girl who was obviously being kidnapped. But yeah, it was just something that was definitely on my mind yesterday in terms of how I was feeling, and just, I don't know. It affects you, is what I have to say. But anyway, back to the build, right? Because I did a build. If you're not new to my channel, you know I tend to do things like create a sim or builds when I'm feeling very anxious. And at this point, I decide to copy and paste the loft upstairs to kind of have like the factory feel, and that it's an old kind of red brick building. This is a stairway to the side. In college, I lived in the building like this. It was more suburban style houses, but it was the what do you call that style where they're connected, like townhome style, where the two houses are next to each other, but one of them has a stairwell that leads upstairs, and then the house on top is a different house. Does that make sense? It's a house, two apartments, different entryways is what we're getting at. I will go back and change the decorations for this upstairs loft, but it's essentially for an NPC character. So someone that just kind of lives upstairs and also rents the place upstairs, maybe for additional income, or maybe my girl's also renting it. I don't know, but I really did have a lot of fun making this build. I challenged myself to build in ways that I really don't tend to build. I tend to go super colorful or super like monotone, or more often than not just like very cozy, vibes is my thing. I like color, I like cozy, and this definitely leans a little bit more towards the edge of like industrial. So it was just fun to challenge myself in this way. And in the background, my nephew was watching Shang-Chi, which we've seen so many times. I don't know where the roof or like the ceiling for this went, so I just built that in with a flat square. So yeah, let me know if you're excited for the holiday season, whether you celebrate or not, whatever it is that you do celebrate. Let me know what you would like for the holiday season. Not obviously because I want to like buy you a gift, but because I'm just curious to know what other people like, and that sometimes helps me figure out what gifts I might get other people. I come from a very large family. You just heard me say I have 6 nieces. I also have a nephew and 2 sisters. So lots of Christmas shopping to do. Although I finished the shopping for my nephew and my nieces. My nephew is right next to me, so I won't tell you what I got him. He is currently asleep, and obviously he's sleeping over, so we co-sleep as much as you can. And my nephew actually sleep talks. It was very bizarre because he kept waking up in the middle of the night to like strangle me essentially in his sleep, meaning he was like cuddling and trying to like get around, like hug me in his sleep. Then he was also talking, just saying bizarre things. I'm a light sleeper, so I kept waking up. But anyway, this is the end of the video. I don't do much landscaping. I feel like it didn't really fit, but I realized we needed a trash bin. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to see you all in my next one.